Good evening, kind gentlefolk. This is your GG replay for Friday, October 1st. We made it to spooky season. GG Replay is, of course, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast where we break down the latest in gaming news, hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. We're workshopping the slogan, but that's what we got so far. My name is Paul, and I'm joined today by Mike. These are the Groofs you got today. Matt is still out, but we're going to have a blast of a time. Mike is back once again to join us for today's show. How you doing today on this Fab Friday?
It's a fantastic Friday. I mean, it's spooky season. Who can't be excited?
I know, it's so good. You know what? Today, up here in old Canada, it is. It's nice. It's cool. It's sunny. There's leaves falling. I saw my first. Rachel and I went for a drive last night, and I saw my first house that was decorated with skeletons and stuff. And it made me very, very excited. It's weird how excited I got. Like, I don't normally care, but I think this year I'm really looking forward to getting spooked. So it was cool.
Yeah, it's weird. It's the older I get, the more I like Halloween and the less I like Christmas. It's very strange.
I pretty much 100% am over Christmas at this point. Like, I mean, the decorating's kind of fun and like, but I'm not really into the actual day or anything anymore.
No.
But Halloween, like the whole vibe is I'm so into it. And I agree. As a kid, I was kind of like, candy, whatever. But now it has become one of my faves. I'm a big autumn guy, so it's a good time. Some cool stuff this week. Nothing crazy new, but we did get 40 YouTube subscribers, which is pretty exciting. Which I did say that I would tell an embarrassing story on the podcast if we get 40 YouTube subscribers. So stay tuned a little later. It's not that good. I'll come up with a better one, but I tried to scramble to think of something and a good gaming one. So I'll give you like a little gaming story maybe at the end of the show if you're all good. You know, if you're good out there. And no one interrupts me. I'm not talking to you, Mike, of course. I'm talking to those people at home. All right.
Always so rowdy.
They're so rowdy. Of course, all of these subscribers are from Mike and Matt, pretty much just knocking it out the park with these reviews. I'll put a review out one day. I swear to God. I'm kidding. It's like this close to being done. It definitely feels like a Saturday thing, so I'm excited. Also it's Friday, so it means soda facts. I did come with a soda fact, actually a pretty cool one because I've never heard this one at all. It's getting harder and harder to find good ones. It's no Brad's drink, which is of course my favorite soda fact of all time. But we are now Orange Crush. You know, the delicious drink. You know, it may not be the classic Pink Crush, but nice Orange Crush, very delicious. Started in the early 1900s. And back then, just in case anyone's interested, it was called Ward's Orange Crush after Neil C. Ward. So the original, they really wanted to sell this as oranges, you know? And what makes you think orange drink more than anything else? Any idea?
Orange juice?
Pulp!
Oh, okay.
Pulp! So, they, of course, there's no real oranges in Orange Crush. So they actually went and added pulp after the fact, so that customers would think it was made from freshly squeezed oranges. They added pulp to the soda Orange Crush.
That sounds awful.
It was awful. It didn't last very long at all. But this was an original marketing tactic. This was an original tactic for the formula to make people think it was oranges. They added pulp to a soda. So it's these are the things that you want to remove. Like you don't add it. I'm a no pulp guy, but even people who are full pulp guy. I feel like even if you like pulp, part of the point is that it had pulp and now they've removed some and they didn't get it all, but that's part of the fun, right? Whereas in this scenario, they just added it. It's like, my milk, you know what would make my milk better? Some pulp. It's not good. It's not good.
That's really bad. That's really not gross. Good.
So there you go. So every time you, next time you're drinking an Orange Crush, just feel around a little bit in your mouth. You might have some pulp in there. So some might not have made it through.
Please no.
All right. We're going to get into this show in just a moment. But first, we actually have a correction coming to us from, of course, our $5 tier patron, Ishmael, who said, listen, miHoYo we said in the episode MiHoYo, I said is a Korean company, or at least very heavily alluded to. It's not, of course, it's a Chinese company. As I said it, I thought this seems weird, but I went with it. I almost thought, Mike, you knew I was wrong, but you didn't say anything. But because I feel like you made a face when I said Korean, and I was like, oh no.
It must have just slipped my mind. I know it's
I
Chinese.
Didn't know. Yeah, I knew that too. I don't know why I said that. I was just like, my head, it was like, not Japanese. What is not Japanese in gaming? And I thought, Korea? Anyway, there you go.
You're not wrong. You just not right on this account.
Exactly. Just not right this one time. So there you go. We do have a correction. Thank you so much to Ishmael for that. And if anyone at home listens to us and says, wow, you were totally wrong, you can actually, send us corrections at ggreplayshow@gmail.com, or head down to the YouTube comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, looking at our beautiful faces. And you can also comment your corrections down there. Pretty much any way you can get in touch with us. You can send a correction. Hey, $1 patrons can send us corrections. What do you know? Wow, the value. All right. Let's get right into the stories. No reviews today. It's Friday, so there's not a lot getting reviewed. Let's get right into it. Konami. Konami's in the news a couple times today, but let's start with the positive, or possibly positive here. Konami is set to revive Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Now this comes from Video Games Chronicle, and they had anonymous sources that spoke to them, publishing sources that didn't want to give their name. So yes, Paul, that is the description of what anonymous means. So first up, evidently they're working on a Castlevania game, which is being described as a reimagining of the series. And like you'll see this as a kind of a trend here, but this is being worked on by like some external studios and some internal studios as well. In addition, an external studio, Virtuous, I think it's Virtuos. I wrote it wrong, but is working on Metal Gear Solid. Which is interesting because they are, obviously fully an external studio, and they're also primarily a support studio, a reporting studio. Now, they are one of the largest game devs in the world, actually. They're a huge corporate team, but most of what they do is like porting games to other platforms. They did a bunch of Switch ports recently. In addition, they also like add arts assets and other things to other games. So they're really kind of a jack of all trades kind of vibe, and they are going to be working on Metal Gear Solid, evidently. And also they claim multiple Silent Hill games in production. And this is their big headline here. They think one of them outsourced to, quote, a prominent Japanese developer, whatever that means. And that happened earlier this year. So they're really coming out here. It's been a drought for a good few years. I think it's been since 2014. There's been a mainline Castlevania game. Obviously, we haven't seen Silent Hill in a super long time, besides the Silent Hills stuff and PT, which, obviously crashed and burned because of everything that happened with Kojima, and obviously Metal Gear 2. We haven't seen anything since Metal Gear Survive, which was definitely a different way to take the franchise. So overall, this is, they came out swinging out of their, well, I mean, obviously this is not an official report, but I mean, they're coming out here with something. I think that, obviously some leaks got out, some info got out. But is this much of anything? This feels like something that I kind of wish we didn't get leaked, because it sounds so underwhelming without naming names. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird. So yeah, Konami a few years back, I shouldn't say a few, several years back, they were like, we're done making video games, because Konami's like a huge brand over
for
the pachinko games, and they wanted to focus on that. They were like, we don't need to hire, good developers and
people like Kojima.
Yeah. It's too expensive. We can make games on our own, and that's why Metal Gear Survive was a thing, and that was just a tragedy of a game. This is, and they announced that they're getting back into gaming because, lo and behold, games make money. But it's kind of weird. Let's start off with the first point on here with Castlevania. The idea of a reimagining of the series, what does that mean? Because they already did a reimagining. Like the Xbox 360 Castlevanias, that I played, they were very much a reimagining of Castlevania in a good
Yep.
way. Like I thought they were pretty good. So like, are we? Uh, I assume that means we're not going back to the classic side scroller, kind of like what Metroid Dread is doing. But I also assume that we're not going back to a more God of War esque, um, you know, 3D fighting
Yeah.
action game. So like, are we? I could speculate like, are we going Vampire
Yeah.
Masquerade style? Are we going
Mm-hmm.
some other route with it? But it's not worth my time.
Hard to
Just
say.
very odd. I'm interested, but odd. Metal Gear Solid being done by external studio Virtuos. Um, I'm not the biggest Metal Gear Solid fan. Their
Yeah.
games just kind of don't do much for me. I played
You don't
5
want
for
a
a little
2 hour
bit.
cutscene?
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. See. I don't get much enjoyment out of it. I
Yeah.
understand that people do, and I understand that Kojima is a good game developer. I'm not going to say that's a bad game. It's just not the game for me.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, when Survive happened, it was like the soul of Metal Gear was ripped out of it because Kojima wasn't
Yeah.
there, and it's like he's still not there. So what? I don't. I'm highly skeptical. Like there is a reason why Kojima should be there, and then
And it
yeah,
felt also to build on that, it feels like Konami clearly doesn't have a lot of like setup. They have resources obviously, but it doesn't seem like they're outsourcing a lot of the
yeah,
stuff, like primarily according to these, these leaks. So it's like, okay,
and
does
that
Virtuos, like obviously Konami doesn't have the Kojima secret
right,
sauce either. They don't seem to have it. So it looks like they're like outsourcing to maybe hope that someone else might have it.
yeah, and that makes sense if Konami just wants to be a publishing company. That makes sense. That's
Yep.
fine. Um, it's just it feels wrong to make a Metal Gear Solid game without Kojima. Um,
Which of course leads into Silent Hill here, which
yep. Which outsourced to a prominent Japanese developer, I doubt it's
yeah,
Kojima. As
yeah.
much as they are trying to blue balls us with,
Ha!
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I highly doubt it's Kojima. I will
Maybe
be
Hassan has moved Blue Box
surprised.
production to Japan.
Maybe Hassan is actually Japanese. We don't know.
Maybe. Or he's
Maybe
turning Japanese. I really think so.
I just I don't see I don't see a way. I don't see a path really for like reconciliation between Konami and Kojima
Mhm.
after what everything happened. So I don't know. Maybe they paid him a shit ton of money and he accepted, but I just don't see it.
Doesn't feel
Um,
like it.
it. I want more Silent Hill games,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I'm
weird.
really skeptical about these Silent Hill games. Then we also had those rumors about like Bloober Team working on Silent Hill maybe for Sony,
Hmm.
and now we have this thing too about like multiple games in production. Is one of those maybe the Bloober Team games is one of them a Japanese
Yeah.
developer, a prominent Japanese developer. Um, and what makes it Silent Hill, right? And I think that's what we're gonna
Right.
have to has yet to be seen. I mean, this is gonna be our if these come out. I think it's pretty fair to say at this point, it definitely feels like in the next 5 or so years, at least in the next few years, we're gonna get some kind of Silent Hill game. There's enough rumors around it, or even just hype around it that a developer would be silly not to do that, not to try to cash in on it.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see if any of them will. I don't exactly know what would be missing from a non-Kojima Silent Hill game because we haven't gotten one yet. But I think
I
we
don't
have
think
yet to find
anything.
out.
Like I'm intrigued by a Kojima ran Silent Hill game. But like I don't think we'd be missing much.
Yeah,
Um it I'm intrigued by the multiple Silent Hill games because
yeah,
that's odd. Um so are we going to get like a mainline one and then like a side one? Like it
multiplayer is what
yeah,
I'm thinking. Maybe like a multiplayer
which
game.
but like how would that even work? There's
Yeah.
too many questions there. Multiple is very, very odd to me and probably
Could be like
stands out.
could be maybe my thought maybe is like remake or remaster versus like another
Maybe.
mainline game. That could be
I,
something
I,
that's
I
still
think
in right
I
now.
think remastering like the old Silent Hills would be smart.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I play like a remaster. My Silent Hill experience is playing a remaster of 2 and 3 on Xbox 360.
yeah,
And those remasters were great, but those are now old too. So it'd be cool to
right,
see more
exactly.
remasters. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I want to see more Silent Hill, so I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. Um, but no, I don't think that's Kojima. I think that's
Yeah.
just them trying to build hype, a la
Do
Blue
you
Box.
do you think we're gonna get Norman Reedus back for Silent Hill now since we
Oh,
lost him to Death Stranding?
absolutely not. And I
Here
also
we
don't
go.
care.
I know. I never
Like,
cared in the first place. I remember. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
yeah.
Oh, right. Well, you know what? Speaking of Konami and their invariable wonderful success, Konami released eFootball 2022 yesterday. Their free upgrade, their free version now of PES, which is now Pro Evolution Soccer, which is now a free to play game. And oh boy, it had an interesting reaction. The game came out yesterday. It's currently the worst reviewed game on Steam of all time. I'll just get short with it. It looks bad, it plays bad, and the game there isn't a lot of game. I mean, you can go at it, you can look, you can find video. It doesn't look always bad. That's I think the really annoying part of it is that it looks okay when you see bits of it. But then when you see the frame drops and the weird lag in moving and controls in the games, the fact that the games are only like 10 minutes long, stuff like this starts to hit in your head where it's like, if you actually sat down to play this, it'd be hard to actually get through a game without being unhappy with what you're playing. But like watching a video of it, yeah, you might be fooled. Konami, of course, today issued a statement on eFootball 2022's recent release and state of the game, which I have here. Essentially, they say they're sorry for the problems and want to assure everyone that we will take all concerns seriously and strive to improve the current situation. But I mean, this apology to me reads that they hadn't seen the game at all. Like it reads like they're like, "Oh God, we're so sorry. We had no idea." Like it seems like there's some issues people are finding out. It's like, yeah, did you not know this before the game came out? Like it seems like this would have been something you would have seen before now, and yet here we are with this kind of surprise. The game is totally broken and not finished. Uh, Mike, have you seen any of the footage for eFootball? Is this something you were maybe thinking of playing and now you're not going to? I will say I was thinking of actually playing eFootball because I remember loving FIFA so much and I thought, a free to play football game, I might get into it. But I gotta say, I will probably not at this point.
No, I was never actually looking at this to play. I think my days in FIFA and whatnot are well past me. I left them in undergrad and I am not going back.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised at all. I mean,
Yeah.
we just got done talking about Metal Gear Survive, so it's just like
Yep.
there's a reason why Konami is outsourcing all of their development and whatnot,
Yep.
but it also seems like they don't have a good handle on their outsourcing. Which I know, like, from a business standpoint, it is difficult when you're outsourcing everything to make sure quality control is in place, but Konami, come on.
Come on.
It's pathetic.
Come on-y.
No.
Does that work? No.
No.
Anagram. Come on. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's
Pathetic.
it's pathetic. It doesn't look great. Like I said, I mean, it's nice that they came out. I guess it's like bare minimum that they came out and apologized within a day, but also at the same time, the apology reeks of, oh, we're so shocked to find that like certain things, and they name like really specific things in the apology too. It's like, oh, regarding game balance, including pass speed and defense operation. It's like, dude, the game is borked. Like it's not like you're like describing like two issues or something. They're like, oh, there's a few issues. It's like, come on, like you guys clearly, had to have seen this before and rushed it out, and hoped that no one would notice, and now everyone's noticing, and now you have to apologize, and it's like,
Yep.
okay, well,
Yep.
and so yeah, we're really excited for Konami to bring back Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill after the hot on the heels. They might win some awards actually. They might win. They might win the new worst reviewed game on Steam of all time. So we'll have to see how that
Yeah.
goes. But very possible here.
Not great.
Oh, golly. Also, by the way, confirmed, I didn't write this in the notes, but confirmed date for Game Awards is December 9th. So
Ooh.
get excited. I just saw it on Reddit earlier today. So pretty
That is
cool to check
exciting.
out. I presume we'll be streaming that. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone mark it on the old calendars. It will be a good time. All right, let's talk about some more stuff. First off, Capcom's chief operating officer says the company wants to set PC as the main outlet for its game software. So they're saying by 2022 or 2023, real specific goals here. They want games on consoles and PCs to be 50-50. The sales, of course, of games. Not your game only half plays on one and doesn't have play on the other. It's pretty cool. We've seen more and more publishers talking about this kind of thing. PC is, maybe 10 years ago was kind of an afterthought. It had its own very different kind of setup where, people made PC games and, certain things got ported, but it wasn't the primary way of playing. Consoles were still king. And I think PC gaming is really the forefront and the most popular version for any sort of like intense gamer. Sorry, I don't know what it's like an enthusiast would buy a PC typically. So yeah, it's kind of cool to see Capcom getting in on that, especially for different genres and things like that, fighting games and things. It's cool to see PC get more love. Mike, I mean, you have a PC, but you also
I
have
do.
all the major consoles.
Also true.
So I mean, does that ring true for you that PC is king in your life? Would you say would you prefer to play a game on PC generally over other stuff?
Currently, yes. So, like and it's more so based on my living arrangements and my
Yep.
house than anything else. If I was living by myself and had my own place, I would have my gaming PC and my like my entertainment area
Yep.
next to each other so
Yep.
that I could do either without having to leave rooms or
Yep.
not be in Discord. Because the thing is, like, when I'm playing a game, I'm usually hanging out in Discord, or at least trying to, because I'm trying to
Sure.
do something but also hang out with people. So gaming for me has become a social factor, and the easiest way to do that is on my computer at the moment.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But for me, I don't really have a preference. I buy the consoles because I like their exclusives, and I like the convenience of having a console when I eventually, have people over or whatever. So,
Sure.
um,
Absolutely.
as far as Capcom goes, though, I've got quite the beef with Capcom because they
Oh,
nonstop piss me off. Um, how about instead of we want sales of games on consoles and to PCs to be a 50-50 ratio, how about you just stop doing exclusives and any other bullshit that you do? I'm very, very upset right now that the um, Resident Evil 4 remake for VR
yeah.
is an Oculus exclusive, I think.
That's
Um,
terrible.
really mad about that. Really
Yeah.
mad that the Resident Evil 7 VR was PS4 VR exclusive for a year, and then they never came back and ported it to PC.
Yeah.
Just really annoyed. Like, congratulations, you're moving away from, oh, we're only gonna release things on consoles. Oh, we're only
Yep.
gonna focus on PC. But now it's just like, okay, but stop with the exclusivity on VR
Yep.
because it's honestly, in my eyes, not gonna help grow the medium. And for me, it's pissing me off, obviously, but that's, me being me. That's a personal problem.
Sure.
But like, no one's gonna go out and buy like multiple versions of VR. That's not gonna
Right.
happen.
And so
So
fans of your games, like you should try to get if you have a certain genre
yeah,
or like a certain IP, like put that IP all on one thing. Like don't
yeah.
make it against a million different things.
You're
That's so
segmenting
strange.
your own audience. It doesn't make any sense. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out and buy an Oculus to play this game. I'm not gonna go buy a PSVR to play this game.
Yeah.
I already have a
It's
VR.
so strange. It's like if they
Support
made
it.
like yeah, it's like if Square Enix came out and they were like, okay, this Tomb Raider's only going to be on PlayStation, and the next Tomb Raider's only going to be on Xbox, and then this one's only going to be
Yeah.
on PC. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very odd. So
very
great
strange.
for them to start adopting this mindset, but can you like apply it to everything really fast? That'd be cool. That's my only nitpick with Capcom because
Yeah,
I'm a
hopefully,
big Resi fan and
yeah,
would really like to have played 7 in VR. It's why I held off on playing it. I
fair.
would have already played it if I knew it was never coming to my VR, but I wanted to
Yeah,
play it in VR, and it's like, no. Oh, okay,
no,
cool,
it's
neat.
not going to happen, man.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully this means it will. I mean, the hope is here if they're focusing on PC. If they say the term main outlet for the game software is interesting in the tweet that they
yeah.
mentioned, and so that might mean maybe we're getting that as their main outlet for like that's going to be primarily what they're focusing, which maybe means maybe VR will be mainly PC focused. Well, I mean, we'll have to see, but that does make me think it'll be more like that, and maybe that's like them stepping away from these exclusivities. So
Yeah, and it might result in just like better PC experiences instead of console ports, which would be
yeah,
nice.
totally. Which
So
I've seen a lot of people complain about too, saying like the ports are okay. They're not like terrible ports, but I mean they
yeah,
are
they're
ports
fine.
in the same sense. They're not. It's not the focus. And I think porting from PC to console almost usually works better in a lot of ways from what
Yeah,
I've seen. But anyway, I think it's interesting too to note that this does come amidst graphics card shortage. Of course, I mean there's just a chip shortage for everything that exists in the world right now. But it is also worth noting that specifically graphics cards are an issue for PCs. I mean beyond just the chip shortage, there's like the Bitcoin mining thing, I mean, the crypto mining stuff.
hmm
So I mean, even after the chip shortage, there's still going to be probably some graphics card issues with supply chain and things like that,
yep,
out the way. So, obviously, there's still plenty of PC gamers. It's one of those sucks to be you if you didn't get in on it like a year ago or so, anytime before then, which
yeah,
is me. I was like about to buy a PC, I think, like at the beginning of the pandemic, because I was like, whatever, I'm home. Finally, I'll do it. I'll do it. I think Matt did. Matt did right before then, and I did. And I waited like an extra couple months, and and then it happened.
and then it
It's like, oh
happened.
no, like all the really bad shortages. So,
Yeah,
anyway, I mean that's just a me issue, but I do think it is interesting because there's a lot of people looking to upgrade or get more into PC gaming again, or maybe take their stuff that's gonna be 4 or 5 years old and get that beefed up. And
yeah,
can't right now. So, I think like what I was just saying, and both of us were just saying, I think the positive is that PC games can be, still easily ported to console, and it is a decent direction to go in. So I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with PC first. I still think that's good,
no,
but
I think that's
uh,
fine.
yeah. All right, let's move to talking about console a little bit here. Discussing something that we talked about months ago now. Bluepoint Games officially joins PlayStation Studios. Now, this was rumored, leaked. This was talked about months ago, along with some other acquisitions that they had. And this one was a lot of people thought this was going to be confirmed like the next day after they announced the other acquisitions, and here they are. They just wait a little bit here. Now, of course, this is the developer who made the Demon Souls remake recently, and they have done some other ports and things like that. Pretty good studio here in terms of their accolades. But yeah, I think a lot of people were hoping that they were going to come out and not port, sorry, like remake and rebuild some older games. As Sony seems to be kind of picking up a lot of these port studios and a lot of these remake studios. But in this instance, it actually seems like they are going to be working on an original game. That is what they've said here in their press release. So kind of interesting. I think it almost seems like Sony and some of these other companies are buying up studios that they use to like make ports and remake things and things like that. And then going like, okay, like you guys have some talent. Let's have you make whatever you guys want to make, or let's have you guys make something original. Which is interesting because I think it might be worth their while to have these teams on as like dedicated remake or port staff. Mike, what do you think? I mean, the Bluepoint thing was pretty exciting. It was cool to imagine that we might get some, remakes of some classic Sony games and things like that. But now we know they're making an original game. Does that seem like a good use of the studio acquisition?
Um, I'm not really sure that it is. Like they showed pretty good talent in doing what they
Yeah,
did. It's odd to put so much faith in the studio to do something original.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, it's weird, especially
it's
if it's
weird.
like it almost feels like they had a project off to the sides at PlayStation Studios, and they're like, "Oh, you guys can work on this." It's like,
Right.
Okay, but why did you acquire them then? Like
Yeah,
usually when you acquire companies, you want to keep their core competency. Their core competency. That's why you acquired them.
exactly.
It's just weird. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's like
I
when they
don't know why
acquired
they
the
would do
PC
this.
port studio like earlier
Yeah,
this year, and it's like, are they going to be making more PC ports? One would hope, because that's what they do.
that's
But
what they
what if they
do.
end up
Yeah.
working on an original game and a Bluepoint too? It's like,
Right. Yeah.
what is the goal here? Because I think these would be very valuable pickups for PlayStation Studios to use in their capacity that they're already good at. But also, I guess maybe if this studio is looking to do something a little bit different and the passion is there, then maybe this could be a really good
Yeah.
project. But yeah, it does seem like a strange. They have a lot of good, passionate studios that can do that. They need some grindy studios too, I think, to do some of these
Exactly.
different works.
It
So
definitely feels like we acquired this company. Oh shoot, what do we do with them now? We didn't have a game plan for this. Which would
yeah,
explain like the really long time to release the details on it too.
yeah,
So I don't know, it's an odd choice. It's
it's
not
odd.
a choice I would have made. But
No. It's not. It's a little strange. I would have liked to see some different stuff there, but say la vie, they're doing some strange stuff at PlayStation Studios. I feel like they're taking studios that weren't, and it's not necessarily just the PlayStation Studios heads too. I mean, I think it's like the individual devs and everything too, and working
mhm,
on what they want to work on. But we are seeing different companies. I think we talked about a couple weeks ago. I mean, Naughty Dog is like really focusing on doing multiplayer stuff, which totally makes sense. It's probably something that Naughty Dog wanted to do, but it's also kind of interesting seeing like, oh, like, could they not have like outsourced that to like one of the other like PlayStation studios that maybe like works on more multiplayer stuff? Maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
Or I just think this having this benefit of this network of studios that all are owned under PlayStation Studios means there's like a lot of chance for collaboration in that way, and playing to like the strengths of developers who know how to build certain types of games. But I guess they're just doing what they want to do. It's clearly working. So I mean, it's not for me
Yeah.
to get out here and shit on the whole thing, but it is not traditional. It's not what I would imagine they would have done here. So kind of interesting.
No, it's odd, but I'm
Hey,
not gonna say that it's gonna be a bad decision. It's just an
no,
odd decision.
I don't think
So
we'll know anything about it for a while. So yeah, just kind of little tidbits, a little twist on the Bluepoint acquisition story that we were not expecting.
yep.
And finally, moving on, we're just talking about all these like extra third-party publishers and stuff today. That's what today's all about, I feel like. And talking about Konami, Capcom, and now we're talking about Bandai Namco, Bamco. Bandai Namco Group announces new purpose and corporate logo. I don't know if you read through this stuff here, Mike, but it's pretty funny.
I did.
Um, they decided to replace their existing mission and vision with a statement of purpose. They were like, no more vision statement. It's a statement of purpose. Their new statement of purpose is fun for all into the future. Fun for all into the future.
Yeah.
Uh,
Amazing. I'm
okay.
inspired.
It's not great. And then they have, of course, they go on to say Bandai Namco exists to share dreams, fun, and inspiration with people around the world, connecting people and societies in the enjoyment of uniquely entertaining products and services. We're working to create a brighter future for everyone. Kind of weird. You're working to create a brighter future for everyone. Like, you make video games. Relax. I don't really quite understand the future part, and the better world part, or the brighter future. It just seems kind of funny to me. I feel like it's a strange focus, but that's kind of what they're doing. They're trying to change it up. And they also changed their logo. And good lord, could they have made it more generic? I mean, I'm not saying Bandai Namco had like the best logo of all time. I'm not gonna like go and talk about it, but overall it looked fine. The orange on the yellow with the letters. It was very iconic, I think, and it had a design. The new logo. is like a really, it's just the words Bandai Namco left to right,
Yep.
with like a little pink box around it that kind of looks like a speech bubble.
Hmm.
And that's it. And they have some things where they talk about how they were inspired, and how, like, the motif of Fukudashi, and it's one of those things that like would have been really popular, I feel like, in like 2012, when all the companies started changing their logos to like just flat, like flat fonts with like nothing on them. And I feel like we've started kind of moving past that again, now, and getting into, back into design, and back into, willing to take some chances and make some logos, and company designs that are a little more interesting than just flat nothingness.
Hmm.
And Bandai Namco, Japanese company here, old company, they've decided, I guess, they're just getting into that now. So they are throwing the fun out the window, and they're going for a very corporate looking logo. IMO. It looks kind of like T-Mobile or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not crazy about it. Mike, like you said, you've seen this. You're feeling inspired by all this, right? So I mean, what do you think? Do you think Bandai Namco, who we all know for being just a wonderful publisher and definitely not kind of a slimy weirdo, are we are we loving their new purpose? Are we feeling inspired by what they have here?
I don't know that I could care less.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
underwhelming.
so it's so
And
funny. It's like
companies do this
clearly
all the
written by like
time.
an it's like written by like an undergrad marketing student, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mean, I had to do this in school and write vision statements, and you can call it a statement of purpose,
Yeah.
they're all the same thing. They all mean the same
Yeah.
thing. Um it's very just bleh. Like it
Yeah.
is it's the perfect like verbal representation of their new logo. Very
Mhm.
bland. Like their new logo is supposedly inspired by manga, but
Yeah.
like if you have to explain it to me, then
Yeah.
I don't care.
It didn't look like manga to me. It looked like nothing.
Yeah,
Until
I
I
was
read
like,
that it's like, oh, it's like a speech bubble. I guess mangas have
yeah,
speech. I guess that's like part of a speech bubble. I guess that's part of manga, I guess. Like,
it
it's not
is.
the first thing I think of when I think of manga, though, is like the speech bubble
No.
design. Like, my main thought is like so many other things. Color, maybe. Oh, but don't
My
worry, they have a very garish pink color as the one color in their
right.
logo.
My other question is why is it in a speech bubble?
Yep. Is
That doesn't make any sense.
someone saying Bandai Namco? Like,
Right?
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
It's
It's
weird.
very it's very bland. It's very boring. It's very I don't care Bandai
Yeah.
Namco. You can sit here and
Yeah.
say we're working for a brighter future. You make toys and
Yeah.
arcades and
You don't
games.
even make video games, and I'm not trying to like, but you don't even make video games with like that's not what you're doing here. You're not making commentary games. You're not trying to like
No.
push anything. You're just making some like tie-in cartoony games, gotcha stuff. This is not this is not pushing if the brighter future you want is more gotcha games, then Bandai Namco is your company, because we're all over it, but
Apparently
I don't.
apparently they're publishing. Okay. Okay. All right. They're clearly publishing
Mhm.
some games. So some of the games that they're publishing,
Mhm.
Elden Ring. They
Okay.
published Scarlet Nexus,
Okay.
Little Nightmares 2. So there are some heavier hitters
There's
here.
some real okay, so it's
Tales
not
of
just
Arise.
yes. Okay.
So, yeah, but still,
Fair enough. My mind goes to immediately
my
like
mind goes to like Pac-Man.
anime tie-in games, like Dragon Ball games, all that's
Yeah,
Bandai Namco.
yeah.
But yeah, fair enough. That's good. Scarlet Nexus, by the way, on Game Pass now, which is pretty cool.
Hey,
Um, so that's something like I for a brief second thought I might buy, and then I was like, never mind. And now it's on Game Pass. So like that's it's like 90% of the games I play now. It's like games I thought I might buy, thought, I don't care enough, and now it's on Game Pass. Same with Marvel's
yep,
Avengers.
yep,
So
exactly.
always good. We love it.
So we won't give them too much hate on the games that they release, but
Yeah.
oh, do they? Wait, I didn't know
Oh my
that
god.
they published the Dark Pictures anthology. What the hell?
What? You know what? Now that you say that, I feel like I might remember the logo on that. But very cool. All right, so they're doing all kinds of stuff. So
I still don't get
yeah.
their
I won't
purpose.
jump on the game thing. Maybe some of these are like games that have some commentary or some
Some
heavy hitters, but
commentary, a little bit.
but uh,
We'll
but it's
rescind our
certainly
statement.
it's still like some video games, and you need to chill on this brighter future thing. Again, it
Yeah.
feels like a corporate statement of like someone who's trying. Again, it feels like T-Mobile just all of a sudden tried to like change everything. It looks just like that. It's so
Yeah.
strange. So anyway, that's that. We don't need to harp on it. Obviously slow news day, but I think it is worth talking about because it was just so goofy. Like it's so bland,
It's
and like if you had to describe like a bland corporate statement and logo, you couldn't get closer than what Bandai Namco did. So I think
right.
it was worth mentioning, especially because the design they had before was fine.
Yeah.
They could have just cleaned up the font or something. I don't know. Shane, what happened to the orange too? That's to me, that's like such a
Right.
staple
Yeah.
of them. That's the thing. Why couldn't they make the text box orange? Anyway, go on about it forever. No one really is going to care, but I kind of care. I like that little logo actually. I know it may not be a good logo, but I actually really liked seeing that at the beginning of games. It just like a little splash effect. I'm
hmm
kind of sad to lose it to the text box, but what are you gonna do? All right.
Nothing.
Nothing we can do unless we become the CEO of Bandai Namco. So, or like I don't know, marketing director, something. So we could work our way up to that. We'll try. You're probably close. All right. um, so yeah, I did. What are we talking about here? Okay, yeah. So we're coming to the end of the show here. Quick reminder before we get towards the very end, where we get into some extra special stuff. Before we get into the very end, I do want to remind everyone right now to pull your car off the road, dry off those dirty dish hands, and grab that phone, open her up, and make sure that you give us a 5-star rating or a thumbs up or and a lovely review on your podcast app of your choice that you're listening to this on right now. It means so much to us. It totally changes the algorithm, and it just it doesn't change it, but it helps us in the algorithm, and it's great. Just change it. Dry your hands off. Hack the podcast app you're listening to. Affect the algorithm and get us on the front page. That's what I'm asking for now. Anecdotally, officially, legally, I'm not asking for that. Okay. I did promise I'd tell an embarrassing story. I couldn't really think of like a good one. So the best I can think of is just this one time. I was playing Star Wars Battlefront when I was like 14 years old with my best friend, and we were playing. And there was a point where I had like 200 dudes left or whatever. You have your
hmm
army, and he had just him. I've never even seen it get to the point where it was just one person before. There was no one else to spawn as. It was just this him. Uh, and anyway, needless to say, like 20 minutes later, I lost the game. It was like this long process of us playing, and I was like, wow. And then it got down to like 150 on my team, and I was like, you've done very well. You've done very, very well, but like, you know what? It's over. Okay, I'm gonna finish this. And it was like it took forever because it was just him killing every single person on my team. But like 20 to 30 minutes after that, he beat me 1 to 200. And that's always like one of my most like famous in my mind, like my most memorable defeats in a video game was losing 1 to 200 in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was very disheartening. I think he got like at one point he got like the Jedi upgrade thing where you get to like be, and then he just mowed through the team. Very embarrassing. You know what? If we get to 50 subscribers, I'll come up with an actual good embarrassing story. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen, so that's what you get for
Wow,
now.
no faith.
So no faith. So 50 by I don't know, 50 by anytime, and I'll tell one. I'm ready.
50 by any
So
time. You heard it here
anytime.
first.
So doesn't matter. I'll just tell one. It'll be much more personal about like I don't know, sometime I got dumped or something hilarious. All right. All right. That actually hasn't really kind of happened. All right. Let's get into it. A couple little final things to talk about at the end of the show today. Just a reminder that if you've listened this far, kudos, by the way, that we have a whole website of stuff. And if you listen this far, chances are you must like something here. So head on over to goodnightgroofs.com where we have blog posts, videos, podcasts like this one, like Game Groofs, our weekly all-encompassing gaming podcast hosted by Matt, who's not here, but I promise you, he's funny too. And just an interesting guy. I know I said two, like as if either of us are funny, but
I was like, whoa there.
I might be a little cocky here. Also, we have reviews now on our YouTube channel, which we mentioned earlier, which is awesome. And don't forget, we also have a Twitch channel, and we do stream. I know it's a lot of stuff, but like if you just go to the website, that's the best part about the website. It's all there, so you don't have to like search around for all of it. We do have a Twitch channel where we do stream live events when there's gaming award shows and news shows and stuff like that. And also, we have been streaming some gaming. By we, I mean Mike. Mike streamed some Deathloop a couple weeks ago, and I think we are going to try to do some more game streaming in the future. Just trying to coordinate and get all the grooves on there. But that is the plan. Fun to check out. So definitely get subscribed because there will be more of that content coming out, and definitely subscribe to YouTube because that is where we have a bunch of video content coming out. Even more next week. It's very exciting. You won't want to miss it. Also, if you're feeling really generous, we do have a Patreon. God, it's running long. I'm talking forever. I'm just kidding. But we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. We have a $1, $3, and $5 tier. And in that $3 tier, which is our most value, you do get early access to our all-encompassing weekly podcast, Game Groofs, which normally comes out on a Sunday. But you can listen to it on Friday if you're a Patreon. Or not this week, because we did not do a Game Groofs this week. It is the first one we've missed, but we are going to hit it. We're going to get back in there next week. It's going to be crazy. I don't know. I might be overhyping it, but I feel like it'll be good. So I say. Matt is a new place. We'll have to set up his green screen in a totally new way. I can't wait to see. It'll change the podcast as we know it.
It won't change at all.
It'll change it all. There's nothing that can change a podcast more than where your green screen sits because, you won't see it, but trust me, in the background, in the back of your mind, you'll hear it. It's Friday. We're getting a little weird with it. Mike, do you have anything else to say before we head out for this wonderful GG replay today?
Please say goodbye.
It's always Friday where these get really weird and like all right. That's it for today's episode of GG Replay for Friday, October 1st, 2021. I almost forgot that it was 2021 specifically. I thought it was like, I don't know. Goodbye. Good night, Groofs. Good night, Groofs.